Okay, good morning. Well, we have quite a full room today, so it is great to see everybody here. It's the New Hampshire Executive Governor and Executive Council meeting, so a full room is always a good thing. Very unique process. So a couple things. We know we have a lot of folks here. We have a lot of things to get to this morning. So we definitely encourage folks to have their phones off if they want to take pictures, but please just be sure to silence them because there will be a lot of public discussion going on this side of the room. With that, Councilor Prescott. I apologize. Don't mean to put you on the spot. Would you like to kick things off for us?
I certainly do.
Prayer and pledge.
Yes, thank you. If we could all stand, I'd like to, if we would all like to bow in prayer and thanksgiving. Dear Lord, I come before you and humbly ask for your blessings upon this meeting. And Lord, help us to be conducting the powers that we have at the Executive Council in a way that is pleasing, one that is thoughtful, and one that is going to honor you. And Lord, we appreciate this opportunity these coming weeks to celebrate Thanksgiving and celebrate the seasons of the holidays and Christmas. I pray all that you would be in our hearts and on our minds in all that we do. I pray this in your Son's name, Jesus. Amen. Would you join me with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Thank you, Councilor Prescott. So it is Thanksgiving week. Always a very big and exciting week. Not just obviously here in the State House, but really across New Hampshire and New England. We obviously take a lot of pride. And every year we get a visit from one group that really stands out at this time of year, and that is the Mayflower Society. So the folks from the Mayflower, there's this row over here. How are you, Heather? Good to see you. Do you want to bring the gang up? So Heather and the folks from the Mayflower Society represent many of the original descendants from the Mayflower. They join us every year for our annual Thanksgiving proclamation. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to do my best to move this up. Hey, how are you? Nice to see you. Chris, hi. Pleasure. Nice to see you. Someone dressed appropriately. I love it. How are you? Yeah, pleasure. Nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Nice to see you. Good morning. Nice to see you. Well, thank you guys for joining. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Mayflower Society in here in New Hampshire?
The Mayflower Society in New Hampshire is about 600 members. We're all descendants from one of the original 102 passengers on the Mayflower. We're getting ready for our 400th anniversary next year, since 1620. New Hampshire has a couple of big projects planned for New Hampshire, including putting up a memorial at Odiorn State Park, a monument, and a big book project for the children of New Hampshire. We're going to go around in costume, reading to the children of New Hampshire at the public libraries and donating some children's books to the libraries that don't own these books.
That's fantastic. So let me ask, you're all descendants, right? It might be a silly and obvious question. You know who your descendant knows, right? So do you mind me asking, can we go down the line? Who do you all descend from?
I descend from Captain Miles Standish, Isaac Allerton, his wife Mary Norris, his daughter, remember, who was only 5 years old when she came on the Mayflower, John Howland, his wife Elizabeth Tilley, and her parents, George Soule, and Edward Doty.
Wow. So I thought we were going to get one name there.
And I'm Governor William Bradford, and 4 others that I haven't filed my supplemental papers on.
Governor Bradford, that's wonderful.
And John and Priscilla Alden, and Thomas Rogers, and Priscilla Alden, Mullen's father, was on the
Stephen Hopkins and William Brewster.
I have 9. Do you want me to name all of them?
I think this is great.
William Bradford, Governor William Bradford, Captain Miles Standish,
Elder William Brewster, his wife Mary, and his son Love. I thought that was a girl at first, but it turned out to be a guy. William Mullins, Priscilla Mullins, Richard Warren. I think it's got them all. I forgot one. My daughter.
Well, and I'm
That sounds like enough.
Yeah, but there is one.
I'm her daughter, so it's easy, just all the names
All
that
of
ditto.
them.
Yeah.
Isaac Allington and Stephen Hopkins.
Okay.
We're all the same.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. I know we have some fourth graders joining us here today as well. Like any kids all across the state, obviously, spending a lot of time on the history of the cities because of what the Mayflower was and really the first steps for the great country. So with that, we have our proclamation. Can I read the proclamation? Okay. So our proclamation recognizing Thanksgiving Day, November 28, 2019, whereas in the autumn of 1621, the Pilgrims, that's right? 1621. The Pilgrims held it in 20. Right, I had to make sure we got our timeline right. Whereas in the autumn of 1621, the Pilgrims held a 3-day feast to celebrate the plentiful harvest they reaped following their first winter in North America. And whereas the first National Thanksgiving Day proclaimed by President George Washington was November 26, 1789, and President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed the first annual national holiday in 1863, establishing the date as the last Thursday of November at the behest of nationally celebrated editor and author and daughter of New Hampshire, Sarah Josepha Hale. And whereas on Thanksgiving Day, New Hampshire citizens and all Americans come together to enjoy the fellowship of family and friends with a feast that symbolizes the many blessings of our lives. And whereas while Thanksgiving is a time to gather in a spirit of gratitude with family, friends, and neighbors, it is also an opportunity to serve others and share our blessings with those in need. And whereas as citizens we pause to consider our good fortunes and are especially mindful of the heroic men and women who serve and have served our country. Now therefore I, Christopher T. Sununu, Governor of the State of New Hampshire, do hereby proclaim November 28, 2019 as Thanksgiving Day in the State of New Hampshire and call this day to the attention of all of its citizens. Thank you guys for joining us. Can we do a picture? Okay, here. There's you guys there. And then I'm tall, so I'm going to get in the back. Okay. We're going to kind of aim this way. All right. Great. Here, we'll take one and then we'll squeeze all the counselors in with us. Okay, let's bring all the counselors up. Oh, okay. I won't. Great. Thank you.
It's nice to see the Mayflower Park.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so sorry I can't make it.
Okay. Moving forward, we're going to call the official Governor and Council meeting to order. We do have a last-minute item coming from the Attorney General's office. It's being handed out to the Council now. It is a last-minute pardon request. And unfortunately, at this time of year, we get a lot of pardon requests. This one was definitely more serious and more timely, so we thought we'd bring it to the Council for immediate consideration. I'll ask the Attorney General to come up. And I believe the pardonee is here as well, so I don't know if they'll be willing to answer any questions, but we'll see.
Well, right. Good morning, Governor and Council. I apologize for the lateness of the item, but as the Governor said, this is an exigent circumstance. You have before you a pardon request from Joanna the Turkey Joanna resides at Birchrise Farm in Sandburg, New Hampshire. She was convicted of the offenses of theft by unauthorized taking, escape, and disorderly conduct. She's for the reasons set forth in the pardon petition seeking your grace.
So, for obvious reasons, there is I know we abolished capital punishment recently in the state, but unfortunately it did not pertain to this constituency. So I guess we can take any questions if folks have any questions, or we can go to a roll call vote. However you like it. Now, this, as similar to last year, if you remember, the council was so gracious to pardon Brooke, the turkey, and Brooke was given over to the Crotched Mountain School. And the folks of Crotched Mountain, you guys want to come up? Maybe we can get an update at the same time while they're considering the pardon of Joanna. Now, Joanna is named after the mother of, I think it's John Jr., who originally created the Birch Foundation, the Birch Rise Foundation.
Land trust, yes.
The
And
land
we own
trust.
our property.
And he owned the property, so we thought it very fitting that Joanna was named after someone who founded it. So, now the pressure's really on for Crotched Mountain. The church, Brooke was pardoned last year, placed into your custody. How's it going?
Well, thank you, Governor and the Executive Council, for the opportunity to beg for the life of the unnamed individual. Maybe you could give an update?
Brooke
Yeah.
has become a happy part of our flock on Crotched Mountain School campus. She's the celebrity bird, and she's grown fat and proud and that sort of stuff.
Great.
For the students.
So, will Joanna be joining Brooke? Okay.
We'll be joining Brooke. We have a coop with 5 turkeys total, so
Okay.
she'll be number 6.
And a lot of the students get to take care of
And
you,
I'll help
right?
out with the chores.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's in your hands now. Councilor Gatz is here.
Governor, is it always a female bird that's pardoned?
It is not. 2 years ago, the first one that we pardoned was Hale. So it is not. It's just kind of the luck of the draw.
Well, we asked for it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Too many males.
Yeah, one male.
It's up to the crime. Councilor Prescott.
Are there any guarantees that Joanna will not gobble up all the other turkey's feed?
They learned to share.
Sheriff Councilor Pignatelli.
What happens if Joanna doesn't get the necessary votes for the pardon?
She will come back to Birchrise Farm and live with the other inmates.
Uncertain future.
The sentence imposed by the court, Councilor Pignatelli was dinner. Dinner.
So it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like that. It doesn't look good. Okay. If there are no further questions, I would ask for a roll call vote.
Council Cryan.
Joanna's staring at me like...
Council Malinsky. Council Prescott.
Yes.
Council Gaffney.
Yes.
Council Pignatelli.
We don't vote for pardon. But I'm going to say that.
The exception is made, and Joanna is pardoned. Oh, you hold?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so why don't you go first? And then we'll kind of quietly gather around. You don't want to get too excited. Great, come on in. Be quiet around here, please.
Yeah.
Gotta go, we'll see on the show.
Well, I'll have to shake here.
The part of it, we go quite quickly.
Paula's got the exclusive.
Look at that smile.
The red bourbon. Yeah, she's a heritage creek. I'm pretty honest. Bertrand's Farm is in Samberton. This is Hunter. I'll do that too.
Point out, these are more questions than council.
And I'm more than impressive.
Oh, actually about 18 pounds. Yeah, about 18 pounds. So it's usually about a pound and a half per person for a Thanksgiving dinner.
That's the wrong way.
Okay, sorry. No problem.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys at Birch Rise, and thank you guys at Crossing Mountain. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Okay. All right. So moving forward, I'd ask the council to take a look at the meeting minutes from our November 6, 2019 council meeting, and I'd ask for a motion to accept the meeting minutes. Are there any discussion or amendments to those meeting minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of accepting the meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? And the meeting minutes are accepted. Next, from the Office of the Secretary of State, we have our civil commissions. Can I please have a motion to confirm the list of civil commissions?
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The list of civil commissions is approved. Are there any nominations to place on the list of civil commissions? Seeing none, the matter of civil commissions is concluded. Moving on, we have some resignations to accept this morning. From the Aviation Users Advisory Board, can I please have a motion to accept the resignation of Gail Fury of Bedford? Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And Gail's resignation is accepted. From the Division of Ports and Harbors Advisory Council, can I please have a motion to accept the resignation of Donald Coker of Portsmouth?
Seconded. Sorry, it said Stratford.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Coker's resignation is accepted. As the Commissioner from the Insurance Department, can I please have a motion to accept the resignation of John Elias of Henniker?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? I would note for discussion purposes that this resignation, I believe the original letter had a date of December 13th. That has been amended by Commissioner Elias to be December 31st to allow for kind of a smoother and longer transition period. I think he's done a great job over there, but I think, unfortunately, I get the sense he might be actually leaving the state, so for brighter pastures. but that will take place, will go into effect on December 31st. With no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Mr. Elias's resignation is accepted. From the Public Employee Labor Relations Board, can I please have a motion to accept the resignation of Mark Council of Conway?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Mark's resignation is accepted. From the Water Council, can I please have a motion to accept the resignation of Jean Clark of Bethlehem? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Mr. Clark's resignation is accepted. Moving on to our list of confirmations. Can I please have a motion to confirm Jennifer Sargent of Hanover to the Adult Parole Board? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Sargent is confirmed. Can I please have a motion to confirm Henry Spalos of Nashua to the Adult Parole Board?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Henry is confirmed. Can I please have a motion to confirm Teresa McGuire Harkins of New Boston to the Board of Court Reporters? New Boston.
Yes. So moved.
Okay. Great. A motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I think we had 3 ayes in there, so Ms. Harkins is confirmed. Can I please have a motion to confirm Lori Piper of Ware as the Director of the Division of Marketing, Merchandising, and Warehousing for the State Liquor Commission?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Noting the no, Ms. Piper is confirmed. Can I please have a motion to confirm Christopher Snow of Rye to the Division of Ports and Harbors Advisory Council?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Snow is confirmed. Can I please have a motion to confirm Christine Wallace of Pennacook to the Family Mediator Certification Board?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Wallace is confirmed. Could I please have a motion to confirm Patricia Lynott of Manchester to the Higher Education Commission?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, Dr. Lynott is confirmed. Can I please have a motion to confirm Cecilia Ulibarri of Nashua to the New Hampshire State Council on the Arts?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Ulibarri is confirmed. Can I please have a motion to confirm William Conway of Concord to the New Hampshire Veterans Home Board of Managers?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is confirmed again. Can I please have a motion to confirm Stephanie LaFrance of Henniker to the Volunteer New Hampshire Board of Directors? So moved. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. LaFrance is confirmed. Can I please have a motion to confirm Guy Eaton of Dover to the Volunteer New Hampshire Board of Directors?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Guy is confirmed. And finally, could I please have a motion to confirm George Kimball of Center Sandwich to the Wetlands Council?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Kimball is confirmed, and if it's so please the council, I guess I would ask, we have one confirmation that has been taken. So I would ask, is there a motion to remove from the table the nomination of the division director from the Department of Education of Stephen Appleby of Bedford? So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion to remove from the table. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The nomination has been removed from the table. I now ask for a motion to adopt and confirm Mr. Stephen Appleby of Bedford as the division director of the Department of Education.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
This was laid on the table. Wanted to know if I did not receive any information of what was the purpose of laying this on the table. There was some projections by certain people in the state. I just wanted to know if those were concluded to be positive for this nominee or concluded to be negative for this nominee.
Council Pignatelli?
Thank you, Governor. Since I asked to table it, because I had heard very late in the game about concerns, the concerns remain. I am going to be voting in favor of Mr. Appleby today, knowing that he will be up for reappointment in August, and people will be looking at how he does during these next 9 months or so. And I will base my revote, if he's renominated, on what I hear at that time. I object to hearing late in the game about people that have concerns. People have 2 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks, to talk to us about what their concerns are. And so these are people's lives we're dealing with, and that entered into my reasoning today. You're welcome.
Any further discussion or comments on Mr. Appleby's nomination? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of Mr. Appleby, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Noting the no vote, Mr. Appleby is confirmed. Well, good morning, Ms. Drew.
Good morning, Governor.
How are you? Who do we have here today?
This is the students from East Rochester, and they heard that you will be doing your Christmas tree this week, and they brought decorations for the tree.
Decorations for the tree. Now, okay, welcome. It is very exciting to have you here. Now, do you see a Christmas tree in this room yet? No. Do you know why? It's not even Thanksgiving. And if I could pass a law that prevents Christmas decorations from going up before Thanksgiving, I would do it. Whoa. The legislature, we'll see if the legislature will.
Now we're passing it on. The legislature.
Do you have your Christmas lights up?
I do. Come on by and take a look at it. As a matter of fact, my wife lit them up last night.
Oh, I will drive by. We always do our drive. Maybe I'll bring the kids. Well, I cannot thank you guys enough. So you actually brought ornaments for the tree.
They talked to Rhonda, and Rhonda said that you would be doing it next week.
Next week, right? We have to get to the Thanksgiving. We had the turkey here this morning. It was very exciting. She was pardoned. It worked. Thank goodness. So do you guys want to come on up? What do we have?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And can the rest follow?
Yes, please. Bring everybody up. Wow, you have like a whole bag of these things. This is great.
There's 3 processes.
Did you guys make these?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, come on. Hold it down. They're great.
4th graders are going to keep going that way, keep it going, keep it going.
This is fantastic. So is this one class?
No, there's 3 whole processes.
3 classes in here. Okay, I got to be very careful. Has anyone ever broken a Christmas decoration? Yeah? I am a jinx. My kids are getting really frustrated with me. I'm constantly breaking the Christmas decoration. So I know my whole staff is very nervous. When we bring these up, this is wonderful. Thank you guys so much. This is great. So let's do this. When we get the tree up, it should be probably next week because it usually comes up right after Thanksgiving. We'll get these on the tree as soon as we can, and then we'll get a picture and we'll send it down to you guys, okay? Great. Well, in the meantime, can we do a picture? So this is what I want. This is what we're going to do. So everyone come on in. We're going to do a picture right in front of this table, and then we'll have the kids in front. Just hold them all up so we can see them without breaking them. Great.
So 4th graders come up towards the
Come
governor.
on up here. Start here, and we'll fill in right kind of where I am. Sorry. Okay, I'm just going to hand these out. Here, you hold that one. You're in the front. All right. Can you hold that for me? All right, you're going to be in the front. Now, I'm going to kind of take a step back. Come on, everyone coming in. Great. All right, everyone come in. Everyone take a chair. No, you guys got to be in front. Hold it. I'm going to put you guys in front. Everyone else still in the middle. John Lynch was so much better at this than I am.
Fourth grade, come on over.
Come on in. Everyone come in.
We're fifth grade.
Fifth grade.
Oh, that's the problem.
Everyone take one step to the right. And where's my council from Rochester?
And
Councilor Walensky, come on up.
Rochester grown-ups, come this way, you can take a picture. I lost all my t-shirts.
Please, with the fourth and fifth graders, I can see you.
All right, everyone look forward. Well, this is the key word. All right, so this is what we're going to do. First, let's everyone look to the left. Colts fan, huh? North Carolina. Forgiven. There we go. All right, now everyone look in the middle. All right. Hey, thank you guys for listening. Nice to see you.
You say thank you to the
Thanks for
governor.
coming, guys.
And then we're gonna sneak out this way.
So we're going to make it this way. Nice to see you. Thank you so much. Thank Feeling okay? All fine? Everything good? Been having a good year? Everyone excited for the long weekend? Nice. See you. Thank you so much. Pleasure. How are you? Thank you so much. Nice to see you. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Pleasure. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Awesome. Oh, thank you guys. Hey, thank you. Good to see you. Great.
Thank you, Governor.
Okay. So I have to ask Councilor Gattis, white lights or colored? Do you do white lights or do you color lights?
White lights.
You do white. Yeah. We did the transformation to colored lights a few years ago. LED, of course.
White lights.
It's a raging debate.
Remember, it's only 3 weeks to Christmas after Thanksgiving.
Hey, whatever excuse you need. Whatever excuse you need. Okay. So that does conclude our confirmations this morning. I do have some nominations to read into the list. To the Advisory Committee on Marine Fisheries, I nominate Richie White of Rye. To the Board of Acupuncture Licensing, I nominate Vicki Irwin of Brookline. To the Board of Foresters, I nominate Stephen Roberge of Peterborough. As the Director of Operations of the Division of Operations for the Department of Transportation, I nominate David Rodrigue of Sandborton. Sandborton. Did I say Sandborton? Sandborton. I just lost that. To the exactly. To the Division of Ports and Harbors Advisory Council, I nominate Eric Anderson of Portsmouth. To the New Hampshire State Council on the Arts, I nominate Margaret Jacobs of Enfield. To the New Hampshire Land and Community Heritage Authority Board of Directors, I nominate Rich Lewis of Plymouth. To the River Management Advisory Committee, I nominate Don Ware of Merrimack. To the State Conservation Committee, I nominate Elizabeth of Chester. And to the State Coordinating Council for Community Transportation in New Hampshire, known as the SCC, I nominate Deborah Ritzy of Derry. And that concludes the nominations at today's meeting. Moving on to our consent calendar agenda. I'd ask for a motion to adopt the consent calendar agenda. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or requests to remove items for further discussion from the consent calendar? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of the consent calendar agenda as presented, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The consent calendar is approved. Okay. Moving on to the regular agenda, I now ask for a motion to adopt agenda item 6 from the Department of Health and Human Services from the Office of the Commissioner.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
If I could ask, there are a number of people here that are concerned with the Bethany Christian Services contract. I'd like to ask a couple of questions of the Commissioner.
Sure.
Is that, can I ask a question? Is that on our agenda?
That contract is not on the current agenda.
And I think these are things that require notice. There's no notice.
For general discussion?
For a general discussion, or a discussion about a contract that we're not even...
So I would say this,
But I would respect that people are here and we should bring it up, but I just...
so we the council is always able to ask questions about potential items. Given that you don't have a contract in front of you, obviously you cannot ask about the details of the contract itself.
Right.
So as long as we keep it to a general discussion and not a discussion on the contract itself, that way it's not like certain members have purview to information or something like that that's being discussed. That's it. Thank you.
And please correct me if I'm going off track as well, Councilor, to be accountable, to do the right thing. I just wanted to just get an understanding from you what the status is of the renewal, or is there a renewal or not a renewal of the contract?
Yeah. For the record, Jeff Myers, Commissioner of Health and Human Services.
Thank you.
The current contract, which runs through December 31st, has an option to renew for up to 2 years. And it is my intention, I've asked my staff to bring a renewal item to the next council meeting. It would be a sole source renewal of the 2-year period.
Great. And I think, if I may add, I think that obviously there's a lot of discussion around the item, and I think to Councilor Valinsky's point, you have to have it on the agenda to really be able to discuss it, right? And so I think that will allow the council to at least see the contract and dig in, however the council so chooses to discern whether to move forward or not with the item.
Thank you.
So that will be on the December 18th?
That's correct.
Okay, so it will be on the December 18th agenda for discussion. Okay.
Thank you. I think it was important information for the whole room to understand the inner workings of the state of New Hampshire. Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention.
It's the beauty of the executive council process.
It is.
Where do you get that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, sure. Did we vote? So, any questions specifically pertaining to item number 6? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of item 6, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 6 is approved. I now ask for motion to adopt agenda item 7 from the Department of Health and Human Services in the Division of Medicaid Services.
So moved.
Second. Any discussions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 7 is approved. I now ask for motion to adopt agenda items 8 and 9 from the Department of Health and Human Services from the Division of Behavioral Health.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on either of these items? Oh, sure. Councilor,
I'm going to request, I've asked the governor if I can say something for just a minute about this item, because it's really significant, and I wanted to point it out. So the legislature provided some funds in the budget that went into effect on October 1st for additional designated receiving facility beds. These are beds for people who need inpatient admission for psychiatric care outside of the New Hampshire hospital. I want to thank publicly Portsmouth Regional Hospital for stepping up and putting these beds online virtually right away after the approval of this contract. This is going to add, another 8 beds. 4 will be located at Portsmouth Regional, and 4 are going to be located for the first time at their kind of sister hospital that's owned by HCA, Heartland in Jarrett. So this is a significant piece of building out the community mental health system in the state of New Hampshire, and I just wanted to recognize that this morning. I thank the governor, obviously, who worked very closely with me on this, and the legislature for putting this money in the budget and standing up these resources.
Give us a sense of the need. These are 8 beds.
Yeah. So there's currently, there's 164 beds at New Hampshire Hospital here today. 10 of those are the inpatient stabilization unit, which are beds that turn over very quickly within 2 or 3 days. There's presently 44 community designated receiving facility beds. So these beds, these new beds that Healthcare Association HCA, is putting online, Fort Parkland and Fort Portsmouth, are going to be able to divert folks out of waiting at the ER departments into a bed for at least a 10-day period.
And so how many do we have in ER boarding at any given time?
Well, it varies, and it's seasonal. If you look at the track of it over the last number of months, it's been as low as in the teens and as high as 40 or so for adults. We have pretty much addressed the children's issue. A lot of kids are now being admitted on a voluntary basis to Hempstead Hospital. There'll be a contract that will be coming forward with respect to standing up the involuntary beds at Hempstead Hospital so we can transition the kids who are currently in the Philbrook wing to Hempstead, and that will allow the state to open up and basically repurpose about 40 adult beds at New Hampshire Hospital to come in 40. Yeah. And that will have a very significant impact on the ER waiting crisis.
Please, time frame approximately for the Philbrook?
Well, the contract with Hempstead is under review now, and I would hope that would be in front of you, early in the year. And then I think once that, assuming that's approved, and if that's approved, I think probably 6 to 9 months or so, maybe a year. Part of that is that we can start transitioning the kids down, and there's a schedule that's already been built out for that. But as Commissioner Arlinghouse knows, we've got to do some construction and renovation in the old Philbrook wing at the hospital, and Administrative Services has to help us run that process, obviously. So there's going to be some time before that's done.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, Councilor Kramer.
Yes.
Protection.
Yes. Well, this was appropriate. So this came out of the Governor's Commission funding. And so I want to make sure I understand your question specifically. When you say how will be done?
Schools.
Yes.
I don't recall off the top of my head how that's allocated.
Commissioner?
Yes.
No, sorry, I think Commissioner Adler? Yes. I don't know, I don't mean to put you on the spot. This is on the, it's a question on the MOU, essentially between HHS and the Department of Education having to do with the $250,000 of prevention funding.
It's a curriculum.
$250,000.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a curriculum that goes out to the school system. I'm not sure whether it's system-wide or whether or not it's targeted.
Correct. So this is targeted to specific school districts.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So we're actually layering the work in terms of the pyramid model structure that we've talked about before at the council. So we're basically taking those same districts and trying to multiply that work that they've done out to other schools.
It's the only solution.
Yeah.
It's the only way that this can get settled.
Absolutely.
One of the biggest challenges with prevention dollars is getting the federal dollars to be able to have flexibility. Like our state dollars are very flexible to the Governor's Commission. The federal dollars are not, I think, quite as flexible as it pertains to prevention. So that's one of the challenges, and I think that's why Patrick Tufts, who heads up the Governor's Commission on drug and alcohol misuse, has trying to allow more of those funds, because we have a lot of money there now, $10.5 million, something like that, to be flexed into the prevention programs, because we're using SOR grants on the treatment and recovery side very aggressively, so to allow the state money to be used and allocated to the prevention side, especially with kids in schools. It's great. Okay. All right. If there are no more questions on items 8 and 9, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The items are approved. I now ask for a motion to adopt agenda item 10 from the Department of Health and Human Services from the Division of Children, Youth, and Families.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 10 is approved. I now ask for a motion to adopt agenda items 11, 12, and 13 from the Department of Health and Human Services pertaining to New Hampshire Hospital.
So moved.
Any discussion on any of these items?
I think the only thing I would mention, we were talking about last year, I just wanted to double check. On December 5th, if anyone's interested in driving up to Denton, Red Cliff has a holiday coverage that day.
Oh, on December 5th? Yeah.
11 to 1.
December 5th, 11 to 1, at Glen Cliff. We'll see you there, Lori. Okay. Seeing no further questions, all in favor of items 11, 12, and 13, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The items are approved. And now we'll ask for a motion to adopt agenda items 14 through 21, noting that item 18 has been removed by the agency from the Department of Health and Human Services from the Division of Public Health Services. Any discussion?
May I?
Council Prescott?
Item number 17.
Yes, I'm asking Lisa Morris, the Public Health Director, to
Thank you very much.
she's coming up right now. You bet.
I received a number of last-minute calls starting last night. In the last, I think, 5 seconds, it should have been 2 seconds of the game, I got a call, and that was the first time I heard about item 17 being, having people here today also. So the question is, in April 23rd of 2014, this similar item came before the Executive Council trying to fund a registry for vaccinations. So could you pick up from there and explain what happened then and what we're trying to do now?
Sure. Hi. Good morning. I'm Lisa Morris. I'm the Director of the Division of Public Health Services. So yes, we have a current system through current immunization registry system through a company called STC. We have had considerable problems with their system's functionality and the quality of the support that they provided. So they have been able, we have had success standing up the ordering side of the registry, but the registry side where it hooks up the providers and with the registry and gives them information about the individuals and what immunizations they are due. It also provides access to individuals as well relative to remaining current on their immunization status. So we have not been able to successfully implement that side. So CDC has been good enough to give us time-limited funds to be able to stand up a registry. We are the last state in the country to stand up a registry. We figured it's going to take about 6 months to get all the contracts in order. Actually, it's going to take a number of months to get the contracts in order to implement the system. The money has to be spent by June 30th, so there is a short timeline here.
June 30th of 2020, correct?
June 30th of 2020,
Yeah.
sorry, yes.
So I have a question concerning that money that was voted to be spent, got half the job done, is that what you're saying?
So they implemented the infrastructure for both, but we have not had success with the registry side of it, and they have not been very helpful. So we're looking to terminate their contract and to contract with another entity.
Is this a policy of the state of New Hampshire gone through the legislature and decided that this is what the state of New Hampshire, its policy is, we need to get done?
Yes, so the registry is through rules and through statute for us to stand one up, yes, in 2016.
All right. To my colleagues on the Executive Council, this has been very late for me. This amount of people in the room, the number of calls that I received, a couple of texts this morning. It would be helpful for me to make sure that I make the right decision on my vote coming up. And I understand that if we tabled this today, that it would not highly interfere with the process to be done next year. But in this time, if I had the help of the council to table it, I would be able to give this much more thought and consideration. And so, can you confirm that this would not be a health
problem to the state of New Hampshire if we postpone this?
Correct, this would not be a health problem. People will still, whoever, the people that want their immunizations will still be able to get them.
And I would like information from your department that gives me the, the policy of our state.
Certainly.
The RSAs and the work that was done to help me make my decision. That's all I have. Questions of your department. Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Okay. Councilor Gash?
Thank you. Did we pay the other company that didn't do a good job performing the work?
Yes, they were able to meet the obligations of the contract in the way that the contract was written and that they developed the system. But in future contracts with them relative to the support that they provided, they were not able to meet their obligations. I can't answer the fact about whether or not we paid them for poor performance today, but I can get you that information.
Why would we even think of paying them for poor performance? I mean, nothing works.
I apologize, if I may, Councilor. So if they met the obligations of the contract, what's the issue?
So there was a lot of support that was needed to be able to fully implement the registry side of it that they were unable to provide to us.
Like almost customer support?
Yes, exactly.
To the state or to providers or?
To both.
To both. Okay.
Not all of which was in the scope of the contract.
Of the original
Of the
contract,
original
yes.
contract.
Yes, that's correct.
I see.
Was it not in the scope of the original? It was not in the original scope of the work.
And how much was it for that portion of the contract?
So the original contract was for $1.3 million.
And how much was that for the portion that we couldn't get information?
So there was a contract after that. I believe it was maybe $250,000 a year. But I have to double check on that for support that they were unable to provide to us.
What we will do, I promised the council, is that we'll go back and submit a letter really detailing all this information, so you have it in writing.
But if we submit a letter to them telling them we want some of our money back?
I understand, Councilor, I fully understand your point, get your point, and that's something that I'll talk to folks about as well.
Do they have any, do they have any other contracts with us?
I'm not aware of any off the top of my head.
I'm not aware.
Or anything else?
I'm not aware of any. But
Can
we
you
will
check into
check.
that? Thank you.
Of course.
May I make a
Further
motion at
questions?
this
Yes.
time?
Sure.
I'd like to motion to table.
We have a motion to table?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of tabling item 17, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 17 is tabled. And if you can just make sure all that information is to the council. Further questions or discussions on items 14 through 21 with the exception of table item 17 or removed item 18? Councilor Valinsky.
Is this Commissioner Meyer's last council meeting?
It is.
We going to pardon you?
You're trying to tell a lot. You offered to process it pretty quickly.
I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. I think a standing ovation is deserved.
Oh! So given no further discussion, all in favor of items 14 through 21 with the exception of items 17 and 18, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The items are approved. I now ask for motion to adopt agenda items 22 through 28A from the Department of Transportation. Second. Any discussion? On any of the items, Commissioner is here. You do? Yeah, Commissioner, I think we have one question from Councilor Cryan.
Governor, Councilor, Director of Transportation, Department of Transportation.
28A.
Yeah.
talk to people that might potentially be related. How to work in this specific site that would be in place somewhere.
So I'm anticipating that this item would be supported this morning. We have met with the employees that were impacted by the closure of the Exit 11 toll plaza. We are anticipating that all of the full-time employees will be able to be accommodated in other locations, and we'll be working with them individually. We did ask them to complete a survey concerning what shifts they would like to work and what other locations they're willing to transfer to. And then based on seniority, we'll work with each employee. But there will be a reduction in hours for the part-time employees. Trying to accommodate full-time employees, it's inevitable there will be less hours available for the part-time. But our priority, of course, is to the full-time employees first.
I mean, it is kind of a, that's my reticence in the last vote to try to get it done. Especially when you do something today, and as Councilor Gatsas just mentioned, it's only a few weeks to Christmas. You know, how impactful are they going to be? I don't know how important these jobs are to them. It might be just going to get out of the house a few hours a day to spend that money. So that's why I'm concerned.
We're very fortunate. Many of the employees that have worked at these toll plazas have been with the state for a very long time. They provide excellent customer service. But some of those individuals are retired full-time employees or part-time employees who are working very few hours. So some of them have expressed that this will be their opportunity to retire, that they aren't interested in going to other locations. It just depends on the individual and their circumstances. But we're doing what we can to support all of them, including for the part-time employees who may have a significant reduction in hours, reaching out to other state agencies and looking at what other part-time opportunities in the area might be available for them.
Please.
The revenue portion.
Yes.
There is some impact. How impactful is it as an agency?
We presented this information when Gatsat last met. Really, this is a smaller toll plaza, so the impact on our overall revenue is not significant. However, we would be concerned if we were to close additional plazas at any point in the future, and it would be a reduction in revenue. But we can absorb the closure of this particular plaza.
Further questions on any of these items? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of items 22 through 28A, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed?
I'm not opposed, but I would like to speak after the vote.
Okay. Okay, so all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none opposed, the items are approved. Is there something concerning the transportation items
Yes.
that didn't pertain to the general discussion?
It pertains to 28A, but I was not going to speak if this item did not pass.
Okay.
But I would like to have a word.
Okay.
Thank you. So since 2004, when I first joined the Executive Council, my job was to help the people in Merrimack with their untenable toll situation. But I had never had two other councilors to join me, even though I had a lot of fair and what I thought good ideas on how to help people in Merrimack. I didn't do it on my own, and I would like to take a couple of minutes to express thanks to the people who were there with me every step of the way. And before I do that, I want to thank my fellow councilors for their votes in favor of this item. In addition to them, I would like to thank the fathers and mothers and the town managers in Merrimack for their help and assistance. I'd also like to thank Representative Bob LaRue, who between 2002 and 2010 was always there with me, always supportive, and always very kind to me. Tom Koenig and a couple of the other town councilors were there all the way and supportive, and I thank them. To Shannon Shanley, who introduced the bill this session to eliminate the tolls at Exit 11. I thank her as well for keeping this on everyone's radar. And to the 4 Merrimack State Representatives who are the women warriors in Merrimack, and they're all here, Rosemary Rung, Wendy Thomas, Nancy Murphy, and Kathy Stack, thank you very much for being a sounding board to me. I'd also like to thank some of the Department of Transportation employees who, although they couldn't come out publicly, were standing behind me and very helpful throughout many, many years. And I'd also like to thank a new supporter, Governor Sununu. Thank you. I think
I
this
can't
is a
vote in your
win
district, though.
for
Sorry.
Merrimack.
Yep, yep.
What do we have here? Miss Drew, are you back there?
I am.
I don't hear that. Oh, I think you're a student.
We have Londonderry students here, and they also have brought ornaments. In fact, the teachers put very special ornaments.
Can I go and get home?
Yeah, come on here, come on. Good morning. And this is Councilor Gatsas, who represents Londonderry.
Say hi, Councilor Gatsas.
Thanks for coming to the State House. I hope you've enjoyed your stay, and I hope you're learning a lot about our great State House. With me here today at the council table is Councilor Cryans from District 1, Councilor Valinsky from District 2, Councilor Prescott from District 3, and Councilor Pignatelli from District 5. And we've got somebody at the head of the table. Does anybody know who that is? Everybody's hand should be up. Who is it? Governor Sununu. All right.
Whatever works.
You go through here and you get a chance to shake his hand.
Well, thank you
How's
guys very
that?
much.
So, and bring next to the ornaments.
Do we have more ornaments?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great. Well, thank you very much. Here, so let's do this. Here, Councilor Gatsas, why don't you come up as well? Come on up, guys. Here, let's do a picture. Council, will you join us for a photo?
I will.
So this is the first ornament I have with my face. A little disconcerting, but it's not a bad picture. I'll take it. I was sucking it in. That looks good. That's great. Well, thank you guys so much. So this is what we're going to do first. Can we first do a picture?
Absolutely.
All right. So let's bring everybody into this area here.
Small people,
Okay, great.
and then some of you come on.
Here. Come on in, come on in, come on in. How are you guys? Nice to see you. Come on in, come on in, come on in. All right, everybody. Come on in, come on in.
Governor, you're okay with collecting the ornaments, but not turning the lights on.
We haven't hung the ornaments yet. We're waiting for the tree.
That's just as good as being hung.
All right. Hey.
You know, Londonderry football team won the state.
I heard. I have to be honest. I don't think a single Londonderry high school football game was even close this year. I mean, it was like it was one of those unbelievable teams that we've had in quite a while. So let's do this. First, we're going to do a photo, and then I'll be able to say hello to all of you. So turn that way.
Look at the cameras that we guys
And
got.
there, anyone in the front, make sure everyone can see the camera. And we'll get it nice and tight. We get,
Councilor Gatsas there with the apology. Hands down.
Oh, we got one more. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Good to see you. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to stand here. Now remember, I'm always fascinated with your names. So when I shake your hand, be sure to give me your name, okay? And then what you guys are going to do, you're going to file right through here. So that's okay. Is that okay, Megan? Okay. Here we go. How are you? Here, come on. What's your name? Connor. I'm Chris. Nice to see you. This is TJ. Good to see you. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Caitlin, nice to see you. Peter, enjoy the tour. Romana, I'm Chris. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Luke, good to see you, buddy. Ashley, nice to see you. Alexander, I'm Chris. Katie, nice to see you. Lindsay, pleasure. Have fun today. Tucker, nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Connor,
They're not coming.
Nice to see you, bud. Jonathan, nice to see you. Hey, how are you? Nice to see you. Grace, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. I'm Christian. Nice to meet you, sir. Luke, enjoy the tour. Nice to see you. Luke, good to see you, bud. Hey, nice to see you. Hey, thank you guys so much for doing this. Wonderful. Thank you so much. A little bit because
Yes. So that's coming right up.
The interesting one here, Phelan. Beautiful name of a young girl, Phelan. I've never heard that before. It's kind of nice. Okay. On to our Office of Strategic Initiative. We have lots of weatherization and services for people all across the state. I'd ask for a motion to adopt agenda items 29 through 40 from the Office of Strategic Initiative. So moved. Any discussion? Councilor Pignatelli, I think the director's here. Good morning.
Good morning. Although this doesn't concern a particular item, it does have something to do with weatherization. I received an email from a disabled and widowed senior citizen in New Hampshire, and I'm wondering if I could forward this email to you. She had to make some improvements and replace a circuit board for weatherization in her home. So she had to do that before she applied for weatherization funding. Do we not fund an emergency situation where someone has to make an improvement, but then...
So there are times when, these are the federal guidelines, where if there is, we wouldn't cover, for instance, an electrical repair or something like that. Safety, some of the safety items would need to be taken care of by the homeowner before the federal funds could be used to weatherize. So some of the things we do, insulation, weather sealing, those things we do, but sometimes there are requirements of the homeowner. But that doesn't mean there isn't assistance available to them. We'd be happy to help them.
So she had to fix her furnace.
No, we do that. We do fix a furnace. We have funding for that through building weatherization and through BWT and through WAC.
Can I forward this email?
Absolutely,
And
sure.
what is your email?
I can give you my number.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Follow up? Yes, sir.
Demand this year?
So, I can give you the numbers for fuel assistance, and we have certified just under 15,000 households, and we have around 5,000 households that are in process of being approved for heating assistance.
Your capacity?
So we have the federal funding. We receive 90% of it, which is typical, and that's $24 million total from the federal government. So we should be able to meet all those needs, yes. And typically, just to give you some background, we'll have carryover every year. So the numbers, part of it's a good economy, fewer people needing assistance or requesting assistance. So we typically have carryover, and those funds are not returned. We use those funds for the building weatherization program. So homes are weatherized with excess blanking funds.
Even today when we had just this morning at food bank,
sure.
We talked about very good funding for people that are still working on that.
And we try our very best to advertise the program. For instance, we had WNR in our office last week to announce the kickoff of our program. As a result, we had someone show up at our office who said, how do I receive assistance? Had a number of phone calls, so we do try to obviously promote and publicize the program as much as we can. And we work closely with the 5 community action agencies to make sure everyone's aware.
You know, an interesting number. Do you think it would be possible? How long? I don't expect to have. Do you know how long this program has been in existence through the federal government? Yeah, quite a while.
Decades.
I wonder how many people in New Hampshire total, to be able to get an aggregate number. I'd be just be interested in that because we're talking a lot about our more antiquated housing stock and the investments that we're trying to make in terms of those products over the years. Something yeah, more out of curiosity. Councilor Prescott.
Yes, if I could, just a couple words. Thank you. There are 10 items on this about the weatherization in the oil, correct? Yes. And they're all sole source, every one of them. Isn't there one that might be able to be competitive out of 10?
So I can tell you that with the federal weatherization program in the rules and guidelines that the federal government requires us to abide by, we're supposed to give preference to community action agencies. And with LIHEAP, they're really, the community action agencies are pretty much the only organizations that can provide this type of service. It's been a number of years since it went out to bid before my time. So I'd be happy to give more information, for you on why it's been so long. But I can tell you that on the weatherization side of things, we're required to give preference to the CAC offices. I realize that's not everything you need to know, but I can.
So if it went out to bid and a oil company in the state of New Hampshire said, I'm going to bid on all 10 and I'm going to give you this price, and you get price X, and then we have the price from these preferential providers, how do you discern what to do?
Well, so the community action agencies aren't, what they're doing for us is they're processing all the applications, they're certifying the households that are eligible for assistance. So that's what the community action agencies do. So we contract with them, and then they pay the vendors. And there's no preference in vendors. So if you were receiving assistance, and let's say Rhymes provides your heating oil, the community action agency is going to pay Rhymes for your fuel assistance. So the community action agencies help us administer the program. Folks apply to the community action agency, they're approved, and then they pay the vendor to deliver the fuel to them. And it's the vendor that household uses. Does that help?
Well, the purpose of the Executive Council is to make sure that the policies of our state and our nation are carried out in a way that gives the taxpayer the assurance that we're using their money in a sound, fiscal, responsible way. You haven't answered my question about the sound, fiscal, responsible way. And we have, I get we might have a sole source administrator, but what about the money that's paid for oil? Is there a way that your department can make sure that we get, a contract amongst multiple oil providers that allows the citizens of New Hampshire to know that, hey, my money's being spent very wisely?
I'm not sure we have the authority to do that. I can look into that for you, though. I just know that what we are allowed to use is to contract with these community action agencies to certify the households and then in turn pay the providers of the fuel to that household. So, but I can look into that for you.
Thank you.
We went away in response to the 1973 oil crisis. It started in 1976.
Oh, 76. Okay.
In response to the oil crisis, right? That would be on the line or something.
73.
Yes, Councilor.
What is the cost for the total cost for administrative fees?
So I don't have those numbers right in front of me, but I can get that for you. I do know that the federal guidelines are not allowed to use more than 10% for admin, and that would include our office and the community action agency. But I can provide you the exact
I know
number.
that many years ago, there was great discussion on the cost of administrative fees when it came to this program.
I can get you the exact numbers.
So it's about a $24 million program. So 10% at most would be about $2.4 million, but there's a lot of room between 0 and 2.4.
But I could break it
by 15,000 households.
Yeah.
And I can break it down for you by community action agency. Find those numbers and when you place them.
Further discussion for these items? Okay. Thank you. All in favor of items 29 through 40, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Items are approved. I now ask for motion on agenda item 41 from the Department of Information Technology.
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 41 is approved. I now ask for a motion on agenda item 42 from the Executive Council. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 42 is approved. I now ask for a motion on agenda item 43 from the Office of Professional Licensure and Certification.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 43 is approved. I now ask for a motion to adopt agenda item 44 from the Department of Revenue Administration.
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 44 is approved. I now ask for a motion to adopt agenda item 45 from the Council on Developmental Disabilities.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 45 is approved. I now ask for a motion to adopt agenda items 46 and 47 from the Department of Agriculture, Markets, and Food.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor of items 46 and 47, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Items are approved. I now ask for a motion on agenda item 48 from the Department of Employment Security.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 48 is approved. Good to see you, George. I now ask for a motion on agenda item...
Dallas.
See, I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice because he's got a grumpy face the whole time I'm staring at him because I know he's a Cowboys fan.
But I have to tell you that the quarterback named Prescott is the best in the world. The world, boys.
Notice how fast George got out of here? He is a crazy Cowboys fan. No, I think he's just a little grumpy from me. Oh, is he going down there? Oh, really? Oh, in Dallas? That's some dedication there. Moving on to items 49 through 52 from the Department of Corrections. Could I get a motion for approval? Any discussion on any of these items? Council Valinsky?
Good morning. For the record, Helen Hanks, Commissioner of the Department of Corrections.
Good morning. I just point of clarification on 49.
Yes.
The
Moral recognition therapy?
recognition. I couldn't think of how to say the
Because
word.
you're always supposed to say recognition.
Right. So I saw that there are multi-day training intervals and materials. Who actually provides the counseling to the inmates? Is it this program's employees, or are we training trainers?
Thank you for that question. We're training our staff to provide the treatment of this program, so it will be our case managers as well as our behavioral health clinicians.
Okay, and so those folks are people who already have some training in therapeutic modalities?
Yes, our case managers are trained in Think for a Change, and then obviously licensed clinicians have their own.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Grant?
General question has nothing to do with these four.
Okay.
What do you do for Thanksgiving?
What do we do? So we... So we do provide them a similar Thanksgiving style meal. We have visits and things of that nature. The residents themselves prefer to do something after Thanksgiving, so we have different holiday events that are scheduled in and above their visiting schedule. So we bring families in and things of that nature.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Don't go too far. Okay, seeing no more discussion on these items. All in favor of items 49 to 52, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The items are approved. I now ask, we're going to jump around a little bit, for a motion to accept item 107 from the Department of Administrative Services, as it is an item that directly relates to the Department of Corrections. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 107? Councilor Valinsky.
107 is essentially the payphone system. Can you tell us what it is that people incarcerated in our institutions pay to use a payphone to call family, friends, to stay in touch?
So the terms of that quarter of the contract isn't adjusting, and so in the back it's 1/10 of a cent per minute from that original contract approved by this body. This amendment, and I'll certainly refer to Commissioner Arlinghouse, does something on the debit card side and maintains people's protected information.
So when an inmate picks up the phone, a 10th of a cent per minute, a 10-minute call costs 10 cents?
Yes.
No.
No. One cent costs a cent.
Penny.
A penny.
Sorry.
Okay.
The number's so small, I always do this.
And so it's just a penny a minute?
Yeah, according to...
penny for 10
Penny
minutes,
for
you say?
10, yeah.
Okay.
Percent of that contract. In New Hampshire, we should be proud of that contract. We're one of the cheapest in the
That's why I
country.
assumed,
Yeah.
I wanted to give you credit for that, even though the math kept getting.
1/10 of a penny is hard to translate in today's economy.
Okay, thank you.
Right, and the tablets that they have, just as a point of interest, is a telephone. So we've increased the number of telephonic communications significantly across our whole department. People are definitely staying in touch.
Can I follow up on that? They pay essentially stamps to send emails?
Essentially.
Do you know the cost of that?
No, right off the top of my head, we try to keep it around the cost of stay up when I did this contract several years ago, but I can update that information every month.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Further discussion on item 107? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of item 107, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 107 is approved. Well, we are having a busy day. Ms. Drew, back again. Good
It's
to
the
see
last
you.
group, Governor.
Well, keep bringing them. This is the fun stuff.
So this
Who do we have?
school is fifth graders from East Rochester.
From East Rochester, Councilor Valinsky.
Welcome. I'm Andy Valinsky. I'm your executive counselor. Let me introduce the people at the table, and then I think you'll get to meet the governor. So from District 1, this is Mike Cryans. That's the North Country. I'm District 2. Russ Prescott is from the Southeast. That's District 3. Ted Gatsis is the Manchester area, District 4. And District 5 is Deborah Pignatelli, which is Nashua, Milford. Thank you for coming. The person at the head of the table who is standing is our governor, Chris Sununu, and I think if you all walk through this way, you can meet the governor, shake his hand, tell him your name. Okay? Thanks for coming.
Hey, how are you? Good. Okay. Hi. Nice to see you.
Come on right through.
Lucas, thanks for coming. Enjoy the tour. Nice to see you. Jacob, thank you. Brooke, happy Thanksgiving.
So is this, are you all in the same class? No. So how many classes do we have? 3 here?
It's one and one class. 3 classes total.
Total. Okay, because we had another group through a few months ago. Okay, welcome.
Pleasure. I'm Chris. Nice to see you. Enjoy the day. Very nice to see you. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy. Pleasure to meet you, sir. Chris, nice to see you. Richard, Chris, nice to see you. Natalie, thanks for coming.
We're going to have time to give you a call and talk to you about item
Very nice to see you.
57.
Okay.
Ask you to come up. We have more information before I vote on sole source for this.
Nice to see you. Hey, how are you guys? Thanks for coming. Nice to see you.
You guys
Hi, how are you? Yeah, great. Good to see you. Moving on. Now ask for motion to adopt agenda items 53 and 54 from the Department of Business and Economic Affairs. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The items are approved. I now ask for motion to adopt agenda items 55 through 57A from the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. Second. Any discussion? Councilor Prescott, I think we have our commissioner here. Thanks. I can't. Yeah, that's right today.
Good morning, Sarah Stewart, Department of Natural and Cultural Resources.
Thank you for coming before us this morning.
Yes.
I have questions that I would have asked you had I had more time. And this is the first time I've asked you today about an item that there hasn't been a room full of people about the class. So this is kind of good.
You might get a clap or two.
So, item 57. I noticed that it's a sole source contract, and I just don't see that the reasons for a sole source contract are sufficient for me to vote yes. I'd like to have more information as to if there has been any other comparison other than, hey, they've done a great job for me,
Right.
or that I really like the quality of the equipment. I think it would be important, but it really isn't a question, but I think it would be important to, get a quote on a machine that's similar to, and see if there is a large enough difference where you could incorporate the service requirements yourself. You could stock more inventory, you don't need the warehouse, you can hire training because you've saved a lot of money and you've got a quality product. So it just comes down to quality, price, and all that, and I don't see it in this contract for me to make a decision, and especially since it's so short. So I wonder if you could get me more information, and hopefully the council would go along with me to allow me to review that information, or is that really going to pose a problem?
Well, the good news is our ski season has started at Cannon, and this is an important piece of equipment. And if you would like for JD to explain specifically why this is the brand that we go with, that we have chosen for a number of years, JD is here to explain that to you.
Sure.
Morning.
Morning, Governor. Morning, Councilors. Morning. The record, I'm John Vigo, General Manager at Franconia National State Park, and Mountain Ski Area. I could not hear you in the back. I'm sorry.
For a sole source, there's always an explanation. And the explanations are usually adequate for me to say, okay, I see why it's sole source. I don't see an adequate explanation why it's sole source.
Okay. The contract itself is with Signature Public Funding Corp. They did go out to bid on the leasing contract. We did a sole source justification or brand justification on Prenoth. We've been with that particular machine and that manufacturer for 17 years. All of our guys are trained in Gilmanton annually and with ongoing training. All of our parts stock is Prenoth. We do test Casbor, which is also known as piston bully. It's the only other major manufacturer of slope moving equipment. We test them annually. We continue to choose Prenoth from purely a quality perspective.
And what's the price difference between the piston bully and Prenoth? I mean, you can do a lot of training with a lot of money if there's a big money discrepancy.
It's similar to ski equipment, vehicle equipment, or any type of equipment. At each price point, we've essentially got the same level of quality. Our guys do test their machine annually, every year, on the front five, notably steep and early terrain, and we've always gone with Prenoth from a quality perspective. I've got 8 to 15 guys who are trained and have been trained for a long time on this particular type of
I understand, but quality aside, what about, does the piston bully do the job? Or does it fail at that grade you're talking about?
There's no failure, but I can't agree with you on quality aside. That's paramount in our business.
Yeah.
It is, there are many reasons why we go with Prenoth, which I thought I had laid out in my notes that I had sent to you.
Yeah.
We could talk at length about why we choose Prenoth.
I know, but it seems a little bit backwards that when you get the opportunity to purchase a piece of equipment, you go out for bid. I do it myself. I have a number of vendors for the same product, knowing that eventually one of them is going to get out of line. And they do. And it's surprising how far out of line good providers get. And I don't see any checks and balances here. You know, have you ever contacted Piston Bullet to say, you know, put up a shop in New Hampshire and we'll do more business with you? Could you provide better service or as much as service as the other Prenoth?
Well, they are based fairly close by. They're right over in
Yeah,
Auburn.
Prenoth is.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I mean,
Piston Bullet is?
Piston Bully. Yeah, their shop is in Auburn, Lewiston, Maine.
So currently, Prenoth they sell snow groomers in this part of the only one that sells, I don't understand the sentence then. The sentence says, currently only Prenoth sells snow groomers in this part of the country. That's what it just said.
I haven't seen the sentence that you're discussing, but Prenoth is based in Gilmanton, manufactured in Quebec.
Right.
And all of their shipping and maintenance runs out of the Gilmanton office.
Right. And Piston Bully is in the Northeast.
Piston Bully is based in Auburn, manufactured in Austria.
So this is very misleading. I understand it's a snow season, so that is a big part of it. But that's a very misleading statement.
Can I see the one that you're looking at? Oh, actually, it says currently only Prenoth LLC and Casbor, which is the manufacturer of Piston Bully, sell snow groomers in this part of the country, which is true.
Good. Thank you. So then again, that leads to that we do have a local source for parts and service. And we don't have a quote. What's the price of their machine? We don't have it.
I'm going to try this one more time to make you understand the difficulty in starting to share or flip your fleet.
And you can explain that to the executive council and tell them, hey, here's a $100,000 machine, and here's a $150,000 machine, and this is why I want a $150,000 machine. You haven't done that. And the executive council doesn't even know what you were thinking. And it doesn't give me enough reason to say, I'm good with the sole source agreement.
But I did indicate in my notes to you last year, or this year, last year, and every year prior, that our entire fleet at this point is Prenoth. Our mechanics are well-trained for 17 years on Prenoth. Our operators have been using Prenoth for 17 years. With them being so local, our service with them is fantastic. I have explained that.
You got my vote by saying those things.
Okay.
You didn't get my vote by explaining that I'm doing this because I like them more. I get it face to face. I don't want you to tie the hands of the executive council. Thank you.
Counselor, what's the cost of the equipment?
This machine is, I believe, $440,000. The other ones that we have are $350 on average.
So let me understand. The cost is $440, and you're paying $473,000 to lease it for 4 years?
We own the equipment at the end of the lease. We've gone with Signature Public Funding Corp., and this year coming off lease will be the first year in which we actually own the equipment. In prior years, with the company out in Chicago, IFSC, they had owned the machine afterwards.
So with interest rates with where they are, we would want to pay that much of a premium for a lease?
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Would you do that with your money?
Would I do that with my money?
Yeah.
Sir, I do what it takes within the industry.
No,
that I'm
that's not
working
an
in.
answer. Would you do that with your money?
Given no other alternative, yeah.
I just gave you another alternative, it's to buy it.
How many years after the lease will that equipment stay with us that we can use it for?
Well, that's what we're going to spend the next year working on.
Right.
Whether or not we maintain that equipment and hold on to that equipment, or whether we do a refurb and sale through Prenoth or some other vendor.
What have you done in the past?
In the past, it's been a 4-year rotating lease where we've taken one in and one has gone back out. through the leasing company.
The life expectancy for that piece of equipment is only 4 years?
No, but the performance curves show that in year 5 and beyond, your price of ownership tends to jump, while the residual value tends to plummet.
Do you know what the interest rate is on the increase?
This one in particular, I don't. It actually went through the Treasury.
Because I mean, you're not talking a lot of money. Would you say that 440 versus 473?
That's what he said.
So that's $32,000. It's 2% a year per year. Because $8,000 would be rate for 4 years. It's only $32,000. So and it's not very expensive. I see you figuring it out.
I'm trying to figure that out. 30,000 over 4 years.
It's 2% over 4 years.
That's 6,000 divided by 44.
I mean, my understanding is we run about 2.5 to 3.5%.
It's not real expensive.
So if I may, to help the council, why the change? Historically, you've leased and leased, we've been on a rotating lease, so what drove the idea to actually own these machines outright?
Well, International Finance Service Corporation, based in Chicago, had always had that contract and handles most of the industry at this point. This is the 4th year we're going with Signature Public Funding Corp., essentially because when the Treasury took over leasing programs, they had put it out to bid, and there were a couple of instances in which IFSC couldn't meet their parameters. Signature Public Funding Corp. Does things a little differently and wants no part of the equipment at the end of the 4 years, which is fantastic for us. The challenge is whether we do, or the question is whether we do a refurb and sale, and realize that revenue and pay back into fleet programs and fleet maintenance, which I would prefer to do. If you hang on to the equipment and you maybe run a little longer period, which I would prefer not to do, but I think we'll be having that discussion really frequently over the next year. As a 32-year ski industry guy, I can tell you that a 4 to 5 year lease program at most is the way you want to do this. 90% of the new machines coming into the market are leased, 10% are bought. 90% of the used machines are bought, while 10% are leased.
Right. You should hear what the people from Switzerland say about Prenoth. They love pistol whipping.
Now, Prenoth is approaching a 70% share in the Northeast. Asbor may have a bigger share elsewhere.
Right. Cool.
I'm okay with trusting our management to make management decisions. I'm ready to vote.
Me too.
Everybody else is. So we can move on.
Any further discussion? Council Pignatelli.
A good year for you at Cannon. I hope to be up there several times.
Thank you. We're off to a good start.
So, did you get my point? That's all I have to say. The last one. Did you get my point? Yeah. There's really no comparison for the cost of the state. Thank you.
Further discussion? Okay. Seeing no further discussion, any questions on any of the other items? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of items 55 through 57A, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The items are approved. I now ask for motion on agenda items 58 through 65. Please note that item 62 was removed by the agency from the Department of Environmental Services. So moved. Any discussion on 58 through 65? Council Pignatelli, I think the commissioner is with us this morning.
I need to talk to Rainey. He's behind you.
I've asked the commissioner to come up as well.
All right.
And he is in charge.
All right.
Thank you, Governor.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Bob Scott from the Department of Environmental Services, and always willing to please, we brought Randy Pelletier, our Assistant Water Director, up.
It's always good to see both of you. Welcome.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, I was going to ask about 62, but that has been withdrawn. Certainly a 5-year permit extension would have been a big question of mine, but 61 and 64, I can't tell what we're doing on the Big Lake. Can you just tell me what's going on with 61 and 64? I don't get the paper copies anymore.
I was prepared for 64, not 61. Okay, the one in 61 is the Welch Island. You're familiar with where Welch Island is. A lot of waves. They do have a breakwater. And what they're doing here is they're adding some new seasonal docks, which is a good thing, nothing permanent. And it's a simple restructuring of what they have for waterfront. So it's nothing invasive, it's nothing long-term, it's all seasonal, they're removing. And they're adjacent to a breakwater. So that one's, I guess, when you look at the big picture, it's pretty innocuous as far as permanent structures. The breakwater already exists. So I think that one's pretty straightforward. 64, that's a boathouse. And it was approved in July of 18 by the council. It was a 30 by 30 structure that was approved by them. It was dredged in. As you know, all boathouses nowadays have to be dredged in. The owners came back, and apparently there was some different purchase of a boat. So what they did is they took the boathouse that was 30, if you can picture the 30 by 30 rectangle. They changed it to 25 on one side and 31 on the other because of their needs, because of the type of boat they were purchasing. We still allow today 30 by 30 length docks, and they came in and retrofitted this because of their needs. Then that's what this amendment is all about.
How big is this Duggan boathouse?
900, all boathouses can't be any bigger than 900 square feet.
So
it's just a weird dimension. It's like an L kind of thing. So it meets all the regs, meets the same square footage. It is dredged in, as you know, we require. And there is a simple change of linear distance in each slope. So it's pretty straightforward.
all right, thank you for your answers.
Well, have a good Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you. You too.
Further discussion and questions? Okay. Seeing no further discussion on these items, all in favor of items 58 through 65, noting item 62 has been removed by the agency, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Yes, I'm opposed to item number 64, the dug-in boathouse.
Okay. Noting the no vote on item 64, the items are approved. I now ask a motion to adopt agenda item 66 from the New Hampshire Veterans Home. So moved. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Peggy. I now ask for a motion to adopt agenda items 67 through 72 from the Department of Education. Any discussion on any of these items? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Items 67 through 72 are approved. I now ask if there is a motion to remove formerly tabled item 45A from the Department of Education. So moved. Seconded. All in favor of removing tabled item 45A from the table, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 45A is removed from the table. I now ask for a motion to adopt agenda item 45A. So moved. Seconded. Any discussion on item 45A? Councilor Valinsky? I think the commissioners here.
Yeah, I think we tabled it to allow you to provide us with additional information.
We did for the Commissioner of Education. I think that the question that was posed to me was really a look at the number of classes that have been taken and where those classes have been taken. I can tell you for the 16-17 time frame, there were 8,500 classes taken. For 17-18, we had 8,800. In 18-19, there were 11,573. And I can provide this information to you if it's responsive to your concerns. You had asked for the difference between the traditional public school versus the public charter schools. And so in the 18-19 year, there were 10,880 courses in the traditional public school, and there were 129 at the public charter schools. That included both STEM and non-STEM classes. This item refers to STEM classes. In the STEM category, there were 7,786 at the traditional public school and 69 at the charter schools.
Further discussion? I think we both had questions about this. You're good?
There's
I'm just trying to remember all the questions you guys
I
had.
think we both were asking similar questions.
I think so.
When this came up last time. Do you have a sense of, trying to think of the right way to say this, how much the savings were to the students who were able to take advantage of the program? So the 8,500, is it just must be just a simple multiplication times the credit hour cost?
Yeah, I think the easiest way, actually, not even towards the credit hour as much as it's the $250 reimbursement that we have for classes. So we're actually paying for it. So in the 17-18 and the 18-19, we had $850,000 in the first year of that biennium and then $950,000 in the second year of that biennium. We didn't fully use all of that because that program was ramping up, but we're pretty close to used it all and it's scaling. So.
Okay. Great, thank you. Further questions on this item? Councilor Francis?
Does that also reflect the money that was in the pot in Manchester for those students, which was raised outside the realm of the State Department?
So these are all of the classes that were taken. So what I don't know is, the funding source associated with each of those. That's not something that I chase down. So what I can tell you is that within the school environment, that's where that 10,880 classes were taken. How those were reimbursed, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of item 45A, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved. Moving on, I now ask for motion to adopt item 72A from the New Hampshire Lottery Commission.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilor Pignatelli.
Thank you. I refuse from voting on this item, so I will not be casting a vote.
I'm sorry?
I am recused
You're
from this item.
You're refused. Okay. Okay.
I have a question of the Attorney General. Thank you. I had a constituent.
I'm sorry, bear with me. So you're not voting present or a non-vote. You're pulling yourself out of the entire vote in discussion, just to be clear.
Right, I'm recused.
And is there a reason for the refusal?
Yes.
For the public?
My husband's law firm, Rath Young and Pignatelli, does some lobbying, and DraftKings is one of their clients.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, Councilor. Thank you.
Thank you. A representative from my district sent me that document there, thinking that it is part of the policy of our state for sports betting. I believe it is. You've read it. His argument is that he believes that we should have multiple agents, not just a single agent. And that's the document he gave to me to verify that that's the case. So can you tell me if the policy of our state is for multiple agents or just allowed to be one?
So just for the record, Counselor, you're referring to language which has now been enacted in Chapter 287I:3, and it refers to commission agents. The item before you, as I understand it, refer to the Director of Compliance here, has it's actually two contracts, one with DraftKings and the second with Intralot, so there are actually two agents in the item before you.
But the case in point is the legislation, is the policy, is the law, not one agent
But multiple agents, meaning 2 or more?
I can't give you an answer on that, except to say that we do have 2 agents, but we have 2 agents before you right now. And I have not done the research on that. I think there's an argument that you would only need 1 agent, and I think Attorney Conforti can address.
Sure, Councilor Prescott, if I may. John Conforti, I'm the Chief Compliance Officer for the lottery. So the language that you are discussing in 287I3 does refer to multiple agents. That sets out the policy in terms of how agents are going to be procured through a competitive bidding process. Within that 287I, there are different sections regarding different channels of sports betting, including mobile, retail, and lottery. And within those particular channels, they talk about what the limits are. It can be anywhere from 1 to no more than 5 on the mobile side, from 1 to no more than 10 on terms of locations on the retail side. And then with regard to lottery, there wasn't a specific number of agents identified. So the way that the statute reads is that within each particular channel, the commission could, depending on how the RFP process went forward, choose anywhere between 1 and 5 in mobile. So it allowed discretion for the commission to determine the proper number of agents, but it set a limit with regard to each particular type of agent that we could have.
Thank you.
For the discussion, Councilor Gatsby.
What was the limit they set?
So with respect to mobile, there were 5 mobile agents. It could be no more than 5 mobile agents. With regard to retail channel, it was on location, not on agent. There could be no more than 10 locations.
So are we one of the only states that do this, that only has a single agent?
No, sir. Sorry, Charlie McIntyre, Lottery Rec, New Hampshire. And I'll give you an example. The Middle Atlantic states. New Jersey has a couple of dozen, 14 separate operators to do mobile sports betting. Their profitability is $44 million annually. Delaware has a single one, and their profitability is $16 million annually, sports betting. So they do 1/3 the revenues to the state and 1/10 the number of people. So when we looked at the RFP, when we had set up this RFP process, we had thought that perhaps we would have multiple skins. But when we get to a place where the one was so much more lucrative for the state, if we did multiple, we'd have to more than double, almost triple, the amount of sports wagering in the state to even break even. So Oregon has a single operator, Delaware has a single operator, Rhode Island has a single operator, so it's not a concept.
And what is the payment to the state?
So the mobile channel, it's 51% of the gross gaming revenue to the state. And the retail channel is 50% revenue to the state, gross gaming revenue to the state.
So the state will see a check for 51%?
Yes, sir. Gross gaming revenue.
Not 36%?
No, sir. No, sir. Your question, I know you had previously about the promotional. Every single lottery channel we operate in currently, we deduct promotional expenses before we get to what characterizes the gross gaming revenue. That includes the lottery channel, that includes even scratch tickets. We give away a significant number of scratch tickets. We do not count those as revenue, sir. Those are promotional, because candidly, sampling is a good way to promote product.
And promotional is 15%?
Yes, sir. Up to 15%, yes, sir. And that's an up to, just to start off with. Ideally, the reason where this is, a lot of folks killed themselves to get to this place this early. You know, this was signed in July, first week of July. Ideally, DraftKings is one of the reasons we chose them is because there's 500,000 folks in Massachusetts who are in their database. We're trying to sort of sign them up here, sort of first mover in the marketplace. So promotionally, that's why it works so well.
And who owns the database should you find another vendor in 5 years or 3 years or whatever?
It's a shared database, certainly, and honestly, one of the nice things that allows us is the contract allows for cross-promotion of products across channels, which is only possible if it's a single vendor. So, for example, we have a very large database of players. We're going to let them use our database to promote sports betting because we both benefit. Moreover, they're going to allow us to use their database to cross-promote lottery sales as well. So it benefits both of us.
Isn't it a disadvantage for the bettor to only have one vendor?
No, sir. I don't agree with that.
You don't?
I do not.
So in the states that they have two vendors, and hypothetically, yesterday's line with Dallas was the Patriots were favored by 7, and you could find another vendor that would give you 6.5. You don't think that the players are going to be looking for those advantages?
I think the state is disincentive in those contexts. I think lowering lines and, buying every billboard in sight, which is what New Jersey has now, I think it comes at the cost to the state for its share. Which is why, if you look at the revenue numbers, why the numbers of the state goes down so dramatically when there are more than one operator in the state. DraftKings already has 53,000 players in state in their database. They've already gone to the point of acquiring those customers, and we're going to benefit from their having acquired those customers previously, as well as having acquired our customers. So I don't think so, sir.
You don't think that that's what the bettor is thinking?
No, sir. No, sir. I don't.
Okay.
Further discussion? Councilor Crane.
Like any kind of activity, sometimes there's an addiction
Yes, sir.
component. Can you talk about what will be done to deal with percentage of people that become addicted?
Well, certainly as part of this law, there was created the Responsible Gaming Council, which there are 5 members now, and they're in the process of organizing. They're administratively tied to us, and this is also the first time they've actually had a budget to work from, $250,000. That number comes from when we were first approached a few years ago by folks. They said 200,000 would be the number, and we made sure they'd have plenty of money to address it. There is a phone number for the New Hampshire Council. It is answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And the second thing is, you mentioned camp. It's only for those communities that voted yes?
That is correct. So for a retail location to be in that community, they have to vote yes in order for it to be located.
Who makes the decision on which communities it goes?
Well, obviously, the first one would be the folks who approve it. And then the second would be just sort of basic geography, what works best for what retail establishment in terms of maximizing revenues to the state, as well as supporting a statewide initiative. So 60% of our revenues are in Rocky and Hillsborough County for the lottery. The vast majority of play we expect early on to be from Massachusetts, so you would see a heavier footprint in the south, but it will be across the state. And that will be worked out through the lottery and DraftKings. Yes, sir. Yeah. And they have 2 visits up there. They think they found a location. It would be...
So, I mean, just because there's only a small percentage of the population, most of them not including that.
No, of course not. And honestly, their location allows us to sort of drive traffic from across Maine. DraftKings has databases of folks from Maine and Vermont as well. So, I've often said the best kind of money is out-of-state money. So our hope is to drive folks from Maine across the play as well, like they do now for Keno. Our number 1 retailer is in Somersworth for Keno, and it's usually filled with Maine plates.
Further questions or discussion? Further discussion, all in favor of item 72A, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
I'm in favor.
Okay. Then I'm going to say
Want a
that.
roll call vote on it?
No, that's okay. Item 72A is approved. Thank you. Taking me to sweat that one out. Where's the COVID guy? Moving on. Department of Safety. I now ask for motion on agenda items 73 through 81A from the Department of Safety.
It's funny that the Department of Safety would be right after the gambling.
Right after. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on any of these items, 73 through 81? Councilor Crines, I think Commissioner Quinn? I almost said Barb.
Good morning, Governor and honorable council members. For the record, Bob Quinn, Commissioner of Safety.
Yes, sir.
So you work with agreements with counties and municipalities?
Yes.
So you work with the sheriff?
That,
Police?
yes, that is the Granite Shield grant, and if you look, we have, this is the 4th year that we're in it, but there is a group in the North Country, we deal with Berlin, and we go throughout the state, so we've expanded it now tremendously, all corners of the state. And even if there's someone who has an award, there are other towns that will work with them, so we're up over 80 police departments that are involved in these cases, sharing the intelligence, working together, and trying to take these cases at the level of Coos County direct to the sources, out of state and sometimes out of the country. Thank you. Thank you, Governor.
You never know, you never know. Any more questions for our illustrious commissioners? How's everything going?
Good, sir.
Good.
Everything's going
Great. Seeing no further questions, all in favor of items 73 through 81A, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The items are approved. Thank you, sir. I now ask,
Good to see you. Oh, good to see you, too. Thank you.
I now ask for motion to adopt agenda items 82 through 102 from the Department of Justice.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The items are approved. I now ask for motion to adopt agenda items 103 through 111 from the Department of Administrative Services, noting that we have already passed item 107. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Discussion on 105?
Seconded.
Question on item 105.
105. That contract is split with the healthcare side, is that correct?
Yes, the contract was, for people who aren't following it as closely, excuse me, geez, Charlie Harlan House Administrative Services. We separated the contract out, the actuarial contract, into two pieces. The one is strictly the, for lack of a better word, the actuarial piece, and the other is more some of the ancillary services and brokerage-oriented services. We had two very different kind of companies who were bidding on this contract, and it became apparent to us that, it became apparent to Joyce, that there were two different pots of people, and it made much more sense to separate them out into pots. It's not meant to be a reflection on whether or not we thought Siegel, who's the winning bidder for this piece of the contract, was doing an adequate job with those services or not. It's just a notion that there are separate services. In all likelihood, the second contract, well, I can't say that. It's possible the second contract may go to a different entity.
Is there any way that we can table this until we see the other contract?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like a motion to table.
I have a motion to table.
Seconded.
Second. All in favor of tabling the item, which would stop conversation?
Can I ask about the table?
Yes, sir.
Does that cause any difficulty if we put off? You said we can.
We can, and I think, I'm going to stare at Joyce in the back of the room. Contract expires at the end of the year, yes?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So as long as we dispose of this, and in all likelihood the second one at the next meeting, we're good.
So I have a motion and a second to table. All in favor of table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 105 is now tabled.
I would note for anyone who's particularly interested in the contract that Steve Kuhn from Siegel is actually here in the back of the room, so at the end of the meeting, which is coming right up, if you had questions about that, this would actually be a great time.
Thank you. Councilor O'Brien, another item?
A minor item. Under 106, it says Berlin Falls Real Estate LLC, Cobra. And then on number 6 item, it says Berlin Falls Real Estate LLC, Berlin. Am I missing something?
On which two contract, I'm sorry, 106? Okay, 106 is Berlin Falls Real Estate, yes.
Oh.
Yes.
It says Berlin Falls Real Estate, Berlin.
And which page are you on?
Number 6. 106.
You don't have 6.
6 would be way back.
Oh.
So I'm just asking, you know, it's
It's
like
quite-
my district, I probably would have thought.
So here's, I can't swear to God that we're absolutely right on this, except that, so I'm noticing with the, it's just that Sarah Langberry does these, and she's always right on the money. I'm noticing in the MOU itself for ours that the business address is 244 Denmark Street, Brooklyn. So, I will send you a note on exactly what that is.
Same exact thing with different addresses.
No, they don't. And I remember this came up like a year ago when we did the lease on the Colebrook Court. We had a. Oh, Joe knows. Joe always knows.
Joe Blue, Demonstrative Services. The certificate of liability insurance basically lists the insured state of business as Colebrook Toll plus District Colebrook, but the business entity that we're working with is the Berlin LLC.
Thank you. Further question on any of these items from the Department of Administrative Services? Seeing none, all in favor of items 103 through 111, excluding tabled item 105 and formally approved item 107, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? And those items are approved. We've taken up our tabled items, and I think that does it. Yes.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, Councilor Prescott. We have a signature page coming around, so
I would like to make an announcement. First, though, I want to thank the Governor, Chris, Sue, awesome guy, and all of you here around this table, great colleagues. I thank you for all your hard work that you do here at the Executive Council, and it makes this announcement, pretty difficult to say because I really, really enjoy working with all of you. And it's been a pleasure of mine to do that. And I know that how important the Executive Council is for the state of New Hampshire and how I really hold it in high regard to do the best I can every single day. And so enjoying it so much makes it difficult to say that in 2020 I will not be running for office. I'm going to dedicate myself to doing a good job for the rest of this term. You know, in the time between 1997 and today, every single fall of the even-numbered years, I have been running for office. And at that time, I had my family, my business, and being in office as a senator for 10 years, being in office here for 4 years, I have grown our family from 5 children to 9 children because 4 of them got married, 3 grandchildren. The business, from the time that I started to today, is probably 5 times bigger than it was in 1997, maybe even 10 times bigger than it was. And as much as I can possibly do, give all I can to the Executive Council. But I want to also give all I can to my family and my business. And it's going to continue to grow. Both are going to continue to grow. And I want to dedicate more to the latter, too. And I just want to thank, of course, my partner, my wife, Susan, my partner, my brother, Karen. They made it all happen. And I can't wait for the next year for coming to work here and then, not having to run again in 2020 and being able to dedicate more time to my family and my business. So, that's my announcement.
Well, thank you very much. Big seat to fill, my friend. Big seat to fill. Okay. Anything else? All right, with that, we'll conclude the meeting.